for my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Caro Herrera, and today I'm going to be reviewing a book called Joan, Lady of Wales, Power and Politics of King John's Daughter. It was written by Dana R. Messer, and it was published on November 2020. Before I begin though, let me just say that if you don't want to find anything about this historical figure from the Middle Ages, beware watching any further. Okay, so back in 2019, I discovered the brilliant, highly recommended and enjoyable The Welsh Trilogy, a set of 3 books written by Sharon K. Penman, one of my favorite authors ever. And the first book, Here Be Dragons, my favorite of that trilogy, and my third favorite book ever. Their protagonist is Joan, the bastard child of King John of England, and wife of Llewellyn the Great, one of the greatest princes of Wales from the time before the land was conquered by the English crown. So I really love Joan because of this historical fiction novel, though she is called Joanna in that book, and I love her love story with Llewellyn. And I even like her father, King John, even though he was a bit of a controversial figure. So yeah, many months later I saw on this Facebook page I follow called History of Royal Women that this new book called Joan, Lady of Wales was going to be published. And my first initial thoughts were that I didn't want to read it. Why? Because, well, despite the fact that I love history and spoilers, I was and am still so in love with Sharon K. Penman's version of Joan that I didn't really want to know what had actually taken place that was different in real life. But as the months passed and the release date grew closer, I changed my mind. I figured out that it would be interesting and rewarding and fulfilling to learn more historical facts about the real woman who inspires the protagonist of Sharon's work. And so that it was released, I bought it and I read it like in 3 days. Okay, so this is the story of Joan, the bastard daughter of King John of England, and of what happens to her after she marries the powerful and ambitious Llewellyn the Great, Prince of Wales. But since Joan lived during the late 12th century and during the first half of the 13th century, she's unfortunately a sort of shadowy figure in history because there aren't as many things known about her as there are about other medieval figures. But this book tries to change that by presenting us with different sources that allow us to imagine what her life must have been like, as well as what it was like to be a woman of power back in those centuries. Okay, so I still prefer by far Here Be Dragons than this book, but I don't really think it's fair to compare and contrast them because they're both rich reading experiences that open up this world to me of medieval Wales that I didn't really know before. So I give Joan, Lady of Wales a 3.5 out of 5 stars review because even though it's not my favorite book or biography, it is a true ode of love to Joan's life. The author spent like 20 years researching it, and as a journalist, I am in awe of her commitment to writing as accurate a picture of Joan as she could, and I mean her respect and interest for Joan is obvious, and I did learn a lot of stuff that I didn't know about Joan before, and I'm not upset that I did learn that, even if it was different from what Here Be Dragons presented. And I mean, sure, Sharon K. Penman either omitted some stuff or changed other things due to creative license. And while I am committed to her portrayal of Joan 100%, it was indeed very interesting to learn so much not only of one of my favorite consorts in history, but of the times she lived in, of her family, the Plantagenet dynasty, and of the role women had in high places of power during medieval Wales. So I do recommend this book, and I am thankful that someone wrote it. It would be a dream come true of mine to actually spend 2 decades researching a historical figure that I love so much, to actually finally present that work. That must have been one of the most amazing things ever for the author. But yeah, for the moment I believe that this is all I have to say about Joan, Lady of Wales. Thank you so much for watching my review of this book. Please let me know if you enjoyed it or not. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you did. If you want to talk about anything that's relevant to Joan and this book, Sharon K. Penman, I'd love to talk as well with you about it. In the description box below you can find a link to the Goodreads page for the book. And well, I'm Caro Herrera, the Mental Traveler, and I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you're in the world. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care and goodbye!